the Pens and Pixels Popcast. I'm your host, Cal G. To my left is the coordinator extraordinaire,
Mike Kent.
The Popcast is a place you come to if you want to hear about the art and news of video games, comics, and movies that week.
So we're the PPPP. Where the extra P stands for PYOP.
What's that P for?
That's a typo.
Excellent! So this week, we're going to run down the newsy news you need to know as per usual. We got all the fucking superhero updates that you need and a bunch of game stuff. And then after the break, we're going to be going over the no-shows of E3. All the stuff we expected to see that still exists out there in the ether, technically, maybe. And we're going to be doing just little mini updates, the last thing that was said about it, or, you know, and what we're expecting to see from it. Or if we're expecting to see it anytime soon.
Yeah, even, like, especially our expectations. Like, now that we haven't seen it, what are we expecting to see? Like, next time we're going to see it, how much of it are we going to see? Do we expect to see more video? Do we expect to see gameplay? And even then, what do we expect out of these games now that so much drama has happened behind most of them?
Yeah, and in some cases, do we even expect them to exist at all?
Yeah.
There's at least two on the list like that.
Oh.
So it'll be interesting to kind of debate, see if there's actually something going on there. Thanks, Watson. Is there any Pens and Pixels housekeeping?
Nothing extraordinarily special. Just come and join us for a drink and draw next Thursday. If you're in Ottawa, that's always a good time. So you can come and drink and draw. Novel idea. Whoa. And also just keep yourself tuned. We're going to be talking more about the exciting news for the upcoming, actually, the stuff's all for 2018, right? Next year's 18, yes. Yes. I get lost all the time. We're always like talking about release dates, and we're like, "Oh, it's coming out in 2019." You're like, "Oh, that's next year."
Like, nope. 2 years.
But yeah, we got some interesting news coming out with that stuff. But it's not going to be anytime soonish. Probably another next week or two. But really exciting stuff. So pay attention.
Stay tuned to all the social media channels that Pens and Pixels is affiliated with.
Are we affiliated?
No, not at all.
Hosted?
Couldn't think of a better term. Where we reside on the Twitters.
On the Twitter nerds.
Well, if that's it, then it's time to jump into the newsy news. First up, I got some real fucking obvious Batman news. Just want to warn the listeners right now, it's kind of a light week on news, so we're really scraping the bottom of the barrel to be able to talk about kind of anything. So the first one is, the Batman director, Matt Reeves, explains how he's being inspired by The Dark Knight's Christopher Nolan. And it's like, okay, like, yeah, you were inspired by, like, the best Batman film ever? Whoa!
How dare you take from the inspiration from the Great... It's like a writer coming by and be like, I like The Great Gatsby. I'm inspired by The Great Gatsby. Shakespeare is awesome.
Hemingway?
I used him.
Aces. That guy.
I used him as my inspiration.
I love The Catcher in the Rye.
It's like, genius. How did you think of that? I would never pull from those sources.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so what Matt Reeves says is, what I love that Nolan did is he took the genre seriously. What studios are willing to make at the moment is a very, very narrow band of films. What I discovered is that this genre has the potential to be something more. You can use metaphors of the genre to talk about a lot. I think the other thing I really admire in what Nolan did is knowing what it is to make a big studio film, which can often fall into the sense of a committee filmmaking where there's an anonymity to the point of view of the film.
Well, that's a way it was basically, could have been just summed up in, I make movies. Like he knew how to just turn that into something more.
No, okay, there's something here, though.
Yeah.
I feel like anyone could be saying this, but he is trying to ideally do something a little different. And he does, and like, I like that he even mentions, like, filmmaking by committee, right? Where it's just like everyone has their finger in the pie and like, well, we need an explosion scene, we need a fucking car chase, we need a...
We'll see if that happens once because like this isn't in full production yet, is it?
I don't think so.
Yeah, no. So like that's the thing. Like once he's actually in charge and sitting in that chair, and he feels his power over his minions, where he's like, no, you make coffee.
He can still demand coffee.
I'm the producer. No, you make coffee.
It's more the bigwigs, the guys we always make fun of, right? Like the cigar smokers in the room, and they're like, how's Matt Reeves doing in that fucking Batman film? And they're like, oh, he's doing pretty good. He's making like a detective noir thing. Like, that sounds too different.
And titties and guns.
How much Margot Robbie is in there? Like none? Well, we gotta get some. We gotta get some Margot Robbie. Is that how you say her name? Margot Robbie. Margot. Hey, Margot. Hey, Margot. You willing to show you? No? Okay. Well, okay. We can get someone else. We could get somebody else.
Who shows their titties? Who shows their titties all the time?
We gotta get one of them Bat women. You mean Batgirl? Yeah. Joss Whedon's working on them. I got a short list right here. Pamela Anderson? Alright, get out. Speaking of which, there is a Batgirl shortlist, and it may have been leaked. This is just take this with a grain of salt. This is not confirmed. None of these actors are for sure going to be in there.
But a lot of news outlets are actually running with this, so there's a chance that these are the accurate names.
Sure. But we're also on a 24-hour news cycle where people just fucking post everything. Yeah. But let's play like this is for
no, but a couple of major outlets picked this up.
So, yeah, I mean, 24-hour news cycle. People just need to post all the time. No matter what. Doesn't matter. It's a fucking rumor they found, like, some kid yelling on the street, yeah. Extra, extra! He just printed it out on his fucking iPod. Whatever kids do nowadays.
It's just like, there's got no news on it. I found a coin! That's the headline.
Batgirl! Okay. Oh, it comes from Reddit, apparently. Goes by the username of DCEU Throwaway 89. Claims that a friend who was contacted by the production company to work on concept art for the upcoming movie.
Oh god, concept art. That must be a concept art leaker.
The post alleges that Warner Brothers wants to have an actress in the role by the time San Diego Comic-Con rolls around by the end of the month so they can announce it at the official Batgirl at the event.
It's a rush.
That seems rushed, yeah, for sure. We'll see if that comes true.
Yeah.
So who's on the list? Plenty of names. 13 Reasons Why's Catherine Langford.
So she's not really been in much else other that I mean, like she's been in other things, but she hasn't been anything of high recognition. 13 Reasons Why got a lot of hype for the whole suicide.
I'm gonna play my old man card right now. I only know like 2 of these people, and have seen even less of them do anything.
No, but I have even watched 13 Reasons Why.
Mm-hmm.
Have you?
No, I haven't.
Oh, no, I haven't either. That's the thing. But I mean, its notoriety is there because of the whole not covering suicide in a gentle way.
Yeah.
Which some people say it was actually handled well, whatever. So that is controversy. But I didn't really hear anything about the actors from it. I heard was like, this show's offensive. Not like, this show's offensive, but she's great. You know?
Yeah, I didn't hear like this outstanding performance by whatever. Yeah.
So I don't know anything. I haven't heard anything about her that makes her stand out in a way. When she came up, I was like, oh, her. Okay.
Next up was Emma Roberts, who I like a lot. I like her in Scream Queens. I liked her in some fucking movie where Zach Galifianakis was in it as well. She was in a season of American Horror Story that I like. She was in my favorite season of American Horror Story. It's still really bad because it's American Horror Story, but she was in it and I liked her.
Yeah.
I personally can't see her as Batgirl. I have a tough time.
She's kind
of like that, like, I don't want to say shrill voice, but like it's like a lot higher pitched and like kind of like girly.
Yeah,
but maybe I'm just thinking of her Scream Queens character.
She's also like too narrow looking. Like,
she's very slim.
Yeah,
she's very slim.
Like, I mean, I'm not going against that. I mean, we all thought that Gal Gadot could never pull off Wonder Woman, and I mean, here she is. She's kicking ass as like Wonder Woman and doing all like she pulled it off. Her build, no matter what, but. Nevertheless, like, she just doesn't give me the intimidation factor where I'm going to be like, all right, this woman's going to kick ass. Instead, she looks too... Well, she's a scream queen. She's a dainty girl in American Horror Story, you know?
Yeah.
She doesn't really portray just the energy of an intimidating character. I mean, maybe she has the skills to do so. I don't know, but...
That's the thing, yeah. We don't know for a lot of these characters. Yeah. We're only going based off what we've seen them in, if we've seen them at all.
But that's the thing. Sometimes actors do that, though, right? Like, I mean, hell, you take fucking Ryan Reynolds. You're not going to put Ryan Reynolds in anything where he's not making a joke. Well, then again, they put him in Life. Was he any good in that?
I didn't see it.
I just saw it. That's why I'm trying to remember, but I don't think I remember him.
Ryan Reynolds has had serious roles. Like, yeah, it's not unheard of. What was that fucking one where he's buried in a box for like 9 hours? Buried?
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he's like underground just for like 45 minutes.
I guess. What's his name? The stupid guy always hangs out with Seth Rogen all the time. He's like
James Franco?
Yeah. He had that serious movie where he cut his arm off.
Oh, fuck. You know, he is just up and down. He's like comedy. The most serious movie you ever heard of, back to a comedy where he smokes weed all the time and jerks his ding dong, and then back to the most serious movie you've ever seen. Like, he's weird like that, though.
Yeah. But there are the ones that do get cast into a particular sense.
Yeah. It's called typecasting. You racist. Okay. Bella Thorne. No idea. I don't know.
I've seen her in stuff, but I don't remember her giving me a performance I enjoyed.
I don't remember her at all. She was in... I saw this blended movie. No, wait, no, I didn't. I was thinking of another Adam Sandler movie. Never mind. They all blend together.
Well, hell, that cover is exactly the same cover as the one where Drew Barrymore forgets everything.
50 First Dates.
That's it.
I was thinking this was Just Go With It, the one with Jennifer Aniston.
They all have the same cover.
They're very similar.
Adam Sandler. When everyone cared about your music.
The Power Rangers, Naomi Scott.
So she was the Yellow Ranger. I don't know. I mean, she's got the factor, like the strength factor in her look, and she's got the presence for it for sure. Again, it's just like I hate doing it. I hate doing the casting for a superhero and going based on like, do they look like the character?
Yeah, that shouldn't be the definitive factor.
No, because it's really not. We've seen Heath Ledger pull off shit. Like we've seen another one pull it off. I just like there's an air sometimes where you're like,
So another one was Haley Lou Richardson, who I think looks way too young.
Way too young. She looks like a 16-year-old.
We thought she was like 16. Apparently she's 22.
Yeah.
No idea. Who knew?
But still, way too young. Like,
who knew?
Way too young.
Jane Levy, who was our pick.
Down, hands down.
If you don't know who this is, she was in Don't Breathe, the horror movie, as the main character. And see, that already, like, again, I feel like this is unfair because, like, I haven't seen the other girls in roles like this, where this one was, like, a dire situation. It was dark. She was really scrappy in it. You know, she did her best to survive. Like, you get a little more feeling of, like, a Batgirl from that than you do from, like, 13 Reasons Why, where the girl committed suicide or something, you know? Like, it's not...
Yeah, but fair is fair. When you're looking out to try and cast someone, you're going to cast for someone who you know can do that job.
True.
Right? So they've seen her do this, so they're going to be like, I've seen you do it. Plus, either she's a natural redhead, or she just looks fucking great as a redhead.
Yeah, I think she also looks like...
She looks like Barbara.
Yeah.
Like, there's a couple of shots of her online here. There's even one where she's wearing a little crown. But, like, it looks like Barbara. Like, her hair is naturally Barbara. She's even got the jawline that matches up to... fucking Batgirl.
Yeah, she's like a dead ringer for. Yeah. See, like we were going down this list before the podcast, and we were like, "Oh no, I don't know, maybe, maybe, no, I don't know." And then Jane Levy came up, and we were like, "Oh, that's it! Like that's
like
Olivia Cook." I don't know. She looks like a baby.
Yeah, no, that's babyface girl. I didn't like her.
Margaret Qualley.
Yeah,
she's Misa.
Yeah, so she's Misa. So she's gonna have a main role.
And Elle Fanning. Oh, this was the other one you liked. I don't know.
I like her. I like Elle Fanning. You know, I think she could probably do the role, especially like the Barbara stuff, like the Batgirl stuff. I don't know, like, will she fit into that as well? But she plays and acts out like this, like kind of adorable, lovable, highly intelligent young woman, which is kind of Barbara's calling card, right? Like this really, but it's strong and lovable, and a lot of different aspects to her character that she portrays. And I like Elle Fanning in general, but. Do I think she's going to be the best Batwoman? Once she's in the costume, I'd be like, well, I'd rather hug you than watch you punch. Like, I'm with the other one,
Jane Levy.
Like Jane Levy just looks so fucking on.
She does. Next up, we got some weird news. Two stories that are kind of just
intermingled.
Throwing a wrench in the MCU in a sense here. So a Luke Cage season 2 character Luke Cage season 2 shares a character with Black Panther. And so actress Nabia B confirmed her Black Panther character would be the Harlem-based Nightshade / Nighthawk. The villain now is slated to appear in the second season of Luke Cage, played by a different actress. Sorry, true believers, it's not all as connected as we once thought. So this right here is like...
Yeah, so this is the part that gets to me, though, right? Like, the splintering of the MCU is starting to happen because everyone's like, well, my franchise is just as big.
How do they not cooperate anymore?
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is even the same company at the end of the day, really, isn't it?
Well, I mean, yes, it's all Disney, technically, right? Disney owns it, but, like, there's Marvel, and there's Marvel Studios, and I don't know which one's which. I guess Studios is the movies.
Yeah.
So I think regular-ass Marvel handles the Netflix shit.
Oh.
And so they're different. Like, they're not the same people. Like, Kevin Feige doesn't have his hand in the Netflix stuff.
Yeah, I know.
You know, like, I'm sure he gets briefed on it, like, you know, once a month.
But you'd think that they would get together and be like, all right, we're going to use this character.
You'd think. And, like, I mean, the plan from the beginning was obviously always that, like, these are all in the same universe, blah, blah, blah. They always talk about the incident, quote-unquote, the big green guy, the guy with the hammer. Never said his name. They would always say their names like they weren't allowed to. It was weird. I always fucking hated it. Yeah. And now this is just like, unless there's two versions of this character in the MCU, which sure, maybe. I don't fucking know.
They could do that, because I mean, they could also just do that. Oh, wait, did they say that the Black Panther character is actually going to be in the Black Panther movie?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
So that...
This is confirmed, yeah. It's like...
No, I was just going to say, I was like, they could just make the character in this and not put it in the Black Panther movie, but since they're in both... Yeah,
they're in both by different actresses. It's a weird situation. It's exactly like the opposite of what we want.
It'd be funnier though. It's like if they had the show and suddenly they're like, "We're gonna go meet Captain America," and it's not Chris Evans; it's just someone else. You look really different in person. Well, the camera like adds 10 pounds.
It's Ben Affleck
and changes my jaw size and my shoulder length and my skin color. You're just like, yeah, you're just like, oh,
I
okay,
guess.
I guess. By definition, isn't what you think it is.
So, like, this is weird, right? Like, I've always wanted, like, I knew, because we'd read all the stories, we've reported on it before, they didn't seem to be on the best of terms.
No.
But I always assumed, like, when it came down to it, when Infinity War, or the second Infinity War, whatever it's going to be called, came down to it, there was going to be at least, like, a scene where, like, they're going to go through a giant dimensional portal to go fight, like, Thanos' dick or whatever, and they were like, just a cock ring with all the soul gems on it.
It's just a dick and then the planets are all rotating.
Yeah, they're in the soul gem. Yes, the planets of the ring.
In the orbit.
And and Spider-Man would be like, they'd be like, we can't leave the Earth unprotected, and Spider-Man would be like, I know a guy, and he'd go to Hell's Kitchen really quick and be like,
and get Luke Cage,
Daredevil, and like it would just be like, it could be like 3 minutes, but like everyone in the fucking the audience would just come unanimously, like, oh, like just and everything would be connected for once. They didn't even need to have a big scene, just a small recognition,
or even in the show would have been cool. It's like, let's just say like the big battle happens and there's like explosions in the sky and shit, and the season runs, and like episode 10, all of a sudden, like that accident happens, and they still have to try and run their storyline while all of the craziness that's happening with the Infinity War is happening around them.
Or that'd be really cool. Yeah. Like that, they have like a 8-episode series where like it's all in the span of like the Infinity War or something. That'd be dope. Yeah, that'd be really cool. That'd be
it's
better.
Just like they still have to do like they're still taking out some idiot or whatever, like just some average street level boss, but they still have to do that job even though the universe is in peril.
Yeah, that'd
be
really cool.
And like certain moments in the story would suddenly stop, and they'd be like, we can't get the 45th and Elm because it blew up. Or something,
whatever. Then the Avengers don't necessarily need to be in it, right? Like something.
Or they're just standing there and they're like, you hear that? Sounds like a jet. And it's just Iron Man and the Iron Man music over top.
So this article goes on to say and says like, Marvel proper and Marvel Studios don't exactly see eye to eye. You may recall their 2015 split, which has been nothing but good for the movies since they're not directly under Disney's Alan Horn. While Nabila B's role may not be particularly extensive, it was a nice bit of comic lore, whatever. It's entirely possible there wasn't much communication about this beforehand. Both X-Men Apocalypse and Logan cast different versions of Caliban independently of one another, so it's not unheard of. And upon learning that a minor role in Black Panther had been given a designation reserved for a more substantial part of Netflix, the Marvel Sniper Squad likely asked for the tweet to be deleted. Oh, cool. Well, anyways.
It's just weird, because to me it's like this more further splintering, right? Like, every single franchise is starting to take off and kind of just try and be its own section of the MCU. And now when it's doing that, it's actually not even, like, at least Defenders were like the green guy, the guy with the hammer, and, whatever. Now it's going to be like they won't even say anything. It's like, we don't exist in this universe, even though they're, like, standing next to each other. Like, you see the giant green guy? No, it doesn't exist. Nobody's like blowing up. No, not there.
That didn't happen.
No.
So the next bit of splintering is some clarification on Venom being part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Who said that? Oh, Amy Pascal, the woman who fucked up the first time, said, first, there is Spider-Man happily in the place where he's supposed to be, which is in the Marvel Universe. I think everything comes from that. This is the signpost, the tentpole, the signature, and the other movies that Sony's going to make, in their relationship to this MCU Spider-Man, take place in this separate Sony world. Although you're not going to see them in the Marvel Universe, it's in the same reality. So it's just going to be like, Venom romping around, doing his thing, and then Spider-Man can just never say his name. Or, whatever, acknowledge that any of that happened.
Yeah, but this is part of the splintering. As Venom grows, right, and they start making fucking Mysterio movies, like, it's going to go off on its own thing, and they're just going to be like, oh, that never happened, but you blew up the whole city. No.
Yeah, I guess they'll never. The sense of continuity just won't be there anymore, right? Yeah. And for a universe, that's very important.
Especially with the MCU, where they constantly acknowledge each other. Like, even Ant-Man, which didn't touch anything to do with anything. They're like, this movie is going to stand on its own, and it did. They still had very clear connections.
Yeah.
And they talked about it, and they talked about, like, the old days.
Tony Stark's dad and shit.
Tony Stark's dad, and, like, everything like that. There was just, like, good, subtle ways of being like, we're in this universe together.
Yeah.
Like, we're two billionaires. Obviously, we would meet at some point, so I met Tony Stark, right?
Yeah.
And then, of course, they brought him into Civil War, and, like, that was a nice connection. But with Venom, it's going to be like, the symbiotes, they've completely covered New York. They're one giant symbiote now. And then the Avengers are just going to be like, oh, but we were in Zimbabwe.
Well, they'll never even talk about it. That's the thing. It'll never be acknowledged.
They're just coded in a symbiote, and they're just still drinking tea.
It's not happening.
Not happening.
We don't have the rights to you. You can't do this. It's fucked. And look, I understand that like making a whole cinematic universe is on its own just a gargantuan task, and to include a TV series like the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in it, and to include Netflix series in it, it's got to be like just a ton of people, and it's got to be really hard to make it work. I know from the outside, us looking in is probably like, why you guys can't have a fucking couple meetings and just let like Robert Downey Jr. appear once or twice.
But it's like, harder because of Marvel, though. Because like you look at Harry Potter, right, and it's even starting off its own universe in its own direction, and lots of other series are doing the same thing. Even Star Wars is doing the same thing. It's all the rights are with one company, but when Marvel sold the rights to all of their heroes to try and keep the company afloat, and now they're grasping to bring it all back, it's like it was too late. If it was still all just Marvel's property, this wouldn't have been an issue.
Well, the Venom thing wouldn't be. No. Netflix shit still would be.
Oh yeah,
they own all that shit. They own Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and they still do it poorly. Yeah. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is just like, oh yeah, the guy who died in Avengers and his death was meaningful. He's alive. It's fine.
Yeah, he's fine.
Agent Coulson, he's fine. Don't worry about it.
Nanomachines.
Now the movies never acknowledge that.
No.
Because Joss Whedon, I think even at the time came out and said like, no, he's dead in my universe.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? Like, but this is wasn't. So even it's splintered a long time ago, folks. This is just more of it because it's been going on for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just kind of disappointing. I think before she said though that Spider-Man might appear in these other movies, these Sony separate ones, but. Yeah, he'll never be able to be like, I fought like a giant slime monster the other day. Like, he'll never be able to mention it.
Yeah. He's like, I got this alien in a bag of webbing.
I fought a magician.
Black goo, and it like grows teeth on people and shit. You maybe want to take care of that. No, purple guy.
That's not a threat. Next Spider-Man movie aiming to feature a never-before-used villain, says Marvel's Kevin Feige.
So a fresh villain that's never been done before in the comic books?
No, I think he means in the movie. Yeah, has not appeared on the big screen yet. Yeah. No, that would be fucking stupid.
Well, how is that an announcement? How is that anything? By the way...
No, because, I mean...
Spider-Man's fought, like, 2,000 villains.
Well, I mean, he's fought Green Goblin.
Yeah.
Doc Ock.
Yeah.
Venom.
Sandman.
And now Vulture. Oh, no, and Electro. I guess Electro, right?
Electro and Shocker.
Oh, yeah, Shocker's in the new one.
Yeah.
And...
We're missing one.
Fuck.
We are missing one.
Oh, I said Electro, right? Lizard.
Lizard. That's it. 8.
Okay, so he's fought 8 of his.
And the Rhino. At the for 2 seconds at the end.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He doesn't count. They just did a robot Rhino. That sucks. I hate that. I want to see a giant
human
like,
being
Russian guy
in
a tight Rhino suit
with a horn on his head like a unicorn.
Yes, like a unicorn. Yes, I absolutely want to see that version of Rhino, and he can still be like kind of a joke villain that he's like fighting at the beginning of the movie or something, you know. Because, like, Rhino's never been a threat on his own by himself, ever.
He just keeps charging on the walls and getting stuck.
Yeah, just like how he beat every, like, video game boss who's big.
Yeah.
Make it stuck in a wall. Yeah. Hit them while they're back.
Make them hit the wall. The wall will make them dizzy.
Okay, but do you think this means that, like, that can't include Kraven and Mysterio now? Because they're getting their own movies over there?
Yeah.
And wouldn't that be fucked? No, yeah, that means they can't. They totally can't do it then because... Mysterio and Kraven won't exist to them.
Yeah.
And if they do a Mysterio movie, but they use Mysterio as the villain here, would it be a different version?
Because Mysterio and Kraven are Fox properties for Universal. Sorry. Sony. And this is Fox.
No. It's not Spider-Man. We're just talking about Sony and Marvel. The guys who are getting along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then they're making the
No. Because we were just talking about the whole. Sony is going to make Venom, Kraven, Mysterio, Black Cat, Silver Sable.
Yeah.
All those other separate ones that can't touch the MCU. Even though they're in the same... So if they did a Mysterio movie, would that mean he can't appear in the actual MCU? Yeah. Because he's already in the R-rated version. So if they're going to bring him in here, do they have to use a different one?
Yeah, probably.
You know? Or would they even bother at that point?
Or they just do what they just fucking did with the fucking Marvel Netflix series and just cast a different actor and call him the same thing.
That's what I'm asking. Yeah. Like a different version of him, like a different actor, different whatever, you know.
Yeah, they could totally do that.
Yeah.
I mean, they have, and they probably will. So I mean, there's no reason why they wouldn't. I mean, from the great big bads for Spider-Man is the Sinister Six, right? So we've had Doc Ock, even though that doesn't count but he's already been done. So
he's been done, so he hasn't seen it on the big screen in ever, right? Yeah. So it's Dr. Octopus, Vulture, Electro, Kraven, Mysterio, and Sandman.
and that's
Okay,
it.
so Kraven and Mysterio.
Yeah.
The ones that they want to use in separate movies in the other side of the universe that no one acknowledges.
Yeah, they're gone.
Hobgoblin.
We've already done the Lizard.
Beetle? You can do Beetle.
Scorpia?
Who the fuck is Scorpia?
I have no clue.
They haven't done Scorpion.
Oh,
You could do Scorpion.
You could do Scorpion.
You could do Scorpion.
We've done a lot of like half animal creature people in this. He fights a lot of that.
Yeah.
Octopuses and everything, vultures. You could do a Scorpion.
Yeah. I think it's time for a Scorpion.
Yeah.
Actually, Chameleon could make a good movie. Because he's always blending in. I mean, at the very end...
He wouldn't really be much of a threat. Like, in the final battle, he's going to run over and punch him. He's just like, and now you can't see me.
Well, I mean, it would be a lot of him fucking with Peter's life, I'd imagine. And then, at the end, he'd punch him in the face and he'd be dead. And you're like, oh, shit. I shouldn't have done that. But I think that could be kind of a cool movie.
It could be. Hammerhead?
Not a lot of chance for action, though. You're right, yeah.
One of just Hammerhead?
No.
It's just like, periodically Peter's just going about his day, and then he just hears, smashes into him. God damn it.
I got a real good running start on that one. Like he was like 3 miles away. just going. If you don't know, we're just in our own world here. Yeah. Fucking Hammerhead is just a guy with a really tough head.
Yeah.
He has
a really hard head.
I have the poster I have upstairs, that like big canvas one is Hammerhead. Because he's so stupid. So Tombstone would be a great one.
Tombstone would be
If we can't get Kingpin, Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin in this universe, then I think Tombstone is a good replacement. And Tombstone's dope.
Yeah, no, I'm down with Tombstone.
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that seems almost more of like they're gonna make him into a freaking Marvel Netflix villain.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
He seems like he'd be more at home there. He's pretty gritty and whatnot.
Well, I mean, whoever's left, I think really the only good one is Scorpion. And you're right, like they're running out of the main guy.
They're running out of like his big rogues gallery.
And if they're saying it's nobody who's ever appeared, it would only be Scorpion or
Craven or Mysterio.
And
they're making movies of those other two apparently.
Yeah. So we'll see.
The mysterious origin of Mysterio. Who would see that? You need to call it like Spider-Man's villain Mysterio or something, because like most of the world would be like, "What?
Yeah,
is this?"
They're expecting to go like see the Prestige again or something. They're like, "This isn't a movie about a magic guy."
yeah, right. Like what the fuck? Okay. Okay, next up, Jeremy Renner, the guy who plays Hawkeye, broke his arms shooting tag. just both his arms, just straight up broke.
Wait, was it during? I thought it was during the Avengers shoot.
No.
Oh, that's less exciting.
I told you this in pre-show, and you said like, oh, it's still funny.
It's still funny.
So
No, it's still funny. I would still totally think this is funny.
You weren't even listening. You're still just thinking about him sitting there with his arms
broken.
And you're like, it didn't matter what I said. I could have been like, I support the Holocaust. And you would have been like, still funny.
Still funny.
Still good.
I'm lost in my world in his head. I love the fact, like, again, the imagery of, like, them shooting the movie, and he's got both of his arms broken, and, you know, like, he's running behind the team. Don't worry, guys. I can still fight.
He's like his one arm's just like kind of like a noodle, like that scene in Ace Ventura 2 when his like arm is paralyzed. Yeah. He's trying to like pull the string with his like chin against his shoulder, and he's like pulling the drawstring. He's like, ah!
And he breaks his other
and the
arm.
other one snaps as soon as it breaks. As soon as he fires that arrow.
Yeah. And then he's just using his legs, like he's trying to shoot a bow with his foot. He's like, I can still aim. I got it, guys.
We're getting there, I'm sure, with him.
Yeah.
What else can they do?
I
get he's supposed to be the world's most accurate man without any superpowers, but like he does some ridiculous shit in the movies that I'm just like, he must have a superpower.
Yeah.
Like he's not even looking, and he just like hits a bow and it looks super badass and cool, but I'm like, no. A human wouldn't do that. Are you a Skrull?
Remember they brought the Skrulls in.
That's been my dream for a long time. Is once if all of a sudden Chris Evans wanted to leave and Chris Hemsworth was like, fuck it, I'm out and whatever. If they had the rights to the Skrulls, I would love it if all of a sudden they were like, Avengers, Skrull Invasion. And it's just like green men bursting out of Chris Hemsworth's skin. He's like, ah! I've been a Skrull the whole time! Like, and you're like, what? And then they have like, you know, the ones who wanted to stay, like Benedict Cumberbatch and ScarJo or something, have to fight like the Skrulls.
No, I'd be down with that shit.
Yeah, that'd be super cool. Yeah. I would love that.
That's a good way to transition over to it as well.
You find out like Tony Stark actually died in like Iron Man 2 or something, and a Skrull took over like his life. I don't know why a Skrull would help for like 6 years.
It's a perfect whitewash, like not whitewash, but like reboot to the universe. Like we reboot the universe, and the comic books are usually like apocalyptic event, universe exploded, new universe, and you're like, oh, for God's sakes,
yeah,
you know. But if they just go, oh, the Skrulls were there the whole time, that's why you don't have the characters anymore. You'd be like, oh, okay.
I'd be down with that.
Yeah.
Let's get into some game news.
Mm-hmm.
We're still talking about Marvel, though. Insomniac's Spider-Man PS4 fools Variety into thinking it's actually the movie. Oh, geez. Okay.
Oh, so dumb.
An often used example of this is how non-gamers mistake more and more the screenshots for a game for real life or even actual CGI. This is more common nowadays thanks to technologies like photogrammetry, a technique used to create photorealistic environments in video games like Star Wars Battlefront, The Vanishing of Ethan Carter, and others. That's a really funny one to pull.
Yeah,
Super indie game, and then also Star Wars Battlefront.
Yeah.
This time around...
I like the word photogrammetry. Photogrammetry?
Photogrammetry.
That's just an excellent word.
Yeah, I've never heard it before.
No.
This time around, renowned entertainment magazine Variety mistakenly used a screenshot of Insomniac's Spider-Man PS4 in their review for Spider-Man Homecoming. The image has since been removed, likely after someone pointed out to the editorial staff. But nothing ever gets wiped off the web, and you can find a snapshot of the original image below.
It's just like, when you're doing the news, they probably just put Spider-Man movie or Spider-Man video.
Or just Spider-Man.
Spider-Man into a Google search and grabbed the first image that came up on it. Was like, that's it. I mean, it looks good.
That's the thing. Nothing against the game. It looks good.
Yeah.
No way you mistake that for being the movie.
No.
Absolutely not. Variety, you dumb.
Also, he's wearing a very different outfit. Not very different. I mean, it's still a Spider-Man outfit, but there's enough difference in it to be like, all right, that's not the same shit.
Yeah.
Like,
it's hard. It's just hard to put ourselves in that shoes. We've been looking at like video game graphics for like our entire lives and like looking at them and analyzing them, and like, of course we know it's a screenshot. Like, but yeah, maybe some other idiot's like, graphics of the Spider-Man movie ain't that good.
Actually, the way it probably applies for us is like when you hear a sound and you're like, I've heard that somewhere before, but like to a sound guy, they're like, that's the fucking pot drop from fucking Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah,
like,
that's true, exactly. Yeah, like us as like fucking layman people were like, oh, the Wilhelm scream, oh, and then the sound guy's like, I recognize this stock effect from this and this and this and this, and yeah, totally. So Variety's idiots. That's it. That's all you need to know about that. Next up is Sonic related. Good old Sonic. He just keeps on trucking.
Somehow. He's running away from his problems like Tom Cruise.
You can't catch me, bad games. Except they're always catching him.
He's like, remember that time when that one caught me and turned me into a werewolf?
Oh, fuck. Why'd they do that? Why did they do the weirdest shit to Sonic that just is... It doesn't feel necessary. They turn him into a werewolf. They send him back in time to become like a knight.
I think they intentionally feed like the DeviantArt crew for Sonic. They're just like, I know that this will feed the DeviantArt crew. Turn him into a werewolf.
I think they know their fans exactly. I think they know they want to see humans fucking Sonic. Totally fine. They did a game where he is like making out with a human princess. I get that. There's no reason to turn him into a werewolf. He's already a furry. It doesn't make him any cooler. It's not a thing that transferred over to another game, and it's like, this is Sonic's new thing. He's a werewolf.
Did the community pick up on it as a cool thing, or is it...
I don't think so, because they didn't keep doing it.
Yeah.
So another one was Sonic and the Black Knight, and it was like, what if Sonic had a knight helmet and a sword? And like, that was basically the game. It's like, okay. But like, why? Yeah. You didn't need to do that either.
Nope. And you didn't need to do... Or, well, you do need to do, and hopefully...
So Sonic Mania's reaction will help determine the future of the Hedgehog. Yeah. In this interview with Takashi Iizuka of Sonic Team fame, there's a few interesting questions. However, none are maybe more interesting than this bit. What do you do about elements in Sonic Forces which older fans might not like but kids will? Sonic Friends, for example. The goal in the demo level is to find Shadow. And really, I don't want to find Shadow. I prefer he stayed lost. Takashi... wow, I can't think of the word. Answers. Jesus. In the past 2 decades, Sonic games have been trying to target a broader audience from kids to adults, and Forces has that same idea. So that means a wider range of characters that we know children like, even if other fans may not be quite as keen. But for Mania, it's kind of a new approach, to target specifically 2D fans, so we don't know whether it'll be accepted positively in the market. We'll find out after the game's released, and we can figure out the direction of future titles after seeing that reaction. My guess is that Sonic Mania is going to have way better reviews than Sonic Forces.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, like, for one thing, that looked like it focused in on, like you said, the 2D stuff. There was stuff that looked like just like a 3D version of the classical Sonic, which is the mechanic everyone wants from that damn game, so just give it to them.
No, Sonic Mania looks like the Genesis games.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah. Oh, you said 3D.
No, I said 2D. It's like a 3D version of a 2D game, because like it's still like models, it's just not 2D graphics.
Oh, yeah, it is.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why it's Yeah, it's a retro throwback. They're letting like old fans make
Make
Sonic Mania. Like
cool.
they think they do like ROM hacks and shit of like like it looks like this.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is sick. But as for selling, I think probably Sonic Forces, the 3D one with all the friends and the.
Is that the one where you can make them?
You can make your own character. Yeah.
Was that already out?
No.
Oh, okay, good.
Okay, good. Mike's just hoping like it'll never.
It'll never come out. Just don't.
Fingers crossed.
Oh no, that's gonna do way bigger.
Yeah, I gotta have to imagine. Yeah. That's the thing. Like, how do you? I don't think a 2D game is ever gonna sell better. Like, unless Sonic Forces does so poorly, it sells like 40,000 copies and is just shit quality and no one likes it, and then Sonic Mania will sell like over that. But like,
it's like niche market to niche market, right? Because like Sonic in itself is basically a niche market now. It applies to that very particular fan base. Like, I'm not connected to Sonic. I'm not running back for it in any particular reason. Not in the way that I want to run back and play Mario. But then you take that and niche it down into who wants to play the 2D Sonics, right? Who really got a kick out of those. There was a huge group of people, but there's not a ton of people running back begging for 2D Sonics. Not in the same way that people were asking for more Mario or more even more Crash Bandicoot, for God's sakes. And then
I have to think that Sonic is bigger than Crash.
Well, we screamed Crash back into existence. We'll see.
We did.
But and then take to that as well is the niche market of amount of people. Even though DeviantArt is quite virulent, and you know the amount of them who want to make their own little Sonic character, right? It's still it's like market inside of markets inside of markets.
I think that alone is just going to sell to like all of DeviantArt. Like, Jesus, yeah.
There's millions of them, millions.
Yeah, so I feel like, no matter what, the 3D big AAA one is going to do better than the small, like, indie or passion project one.
They should make a rated R version, and they would make a ton of money. It's like
Here's Sonic XXX, where it just straight up has dicks.
Yeah,
here you go.
Give them 3 dicks.
Yeah.
3 dicks.
This engine supports, you can fit 4 people inside of Sonic's belly.
Yeah.
You fuckers like that, right?
Turn him into a urinal? Go for it.
Yeah. You can model him after any household appliance.
Yeah.
Like a fucking...
He's a blender. He's doing like the spinball attack to like mix up your food.
There's someone out there who just wants to put oranges in Sonic's blender head and just watch it slowly pulse. Like
the juice comes out his butt.
Yeah. And then it's like a Knuckles glass with like the dreadlocks hanging off the side, and like you get to drink it in first person. It's like a VR simulator where every Sonic character is furniture.
Right. The girl is just the floor.
Her face model stretched out completely. Yeah.
It's just someone with the VR glasses on, going, oh god, yeah.
There's someone who wants that, I'm sure.
I know there's someone who wants
I'm sure. Okay, so enough about Sonic. We talk about him too much, probably.
It's too fun.
EA has a 10-year plan for BioWare's Anthem.
That sounds a lot like Destiny.
That sounds exactly like what they said about Destiny. When did Destiny come out, Mike? That was 2014?
It's been about... Yeah, it's been...
about 3-4 years.
Yeah.
So...
I think they're into the 3rd or 4th year.
How'd that 10-year plan go for them?
Yeah.
Because they're just not going to make any more content for Destiny 1. It's not even like a thing where...
No,
they're going to still release content.
That was their plan. Like, if you, the original, remember that leaked the Comet timeline they made for Destiny? Their plan was, by this point, to release a second game and continue the story that way. That's fine. They've accomplished that goal. And it's what is and still is a popular game. There's shit ton of
totally,
people who play it. Like, it's not that question. Although, I have to feel now, like, when Anthem came out, I'm not seeing as much Destiny 2.
No.
Like, that video came out and everyone, like, the guys in the Destiny were just like, woo,
So here's a quote. It's exactly what the fucking headline says. Anthem is a social game where you and your friends go out on quests and journeys. It's a game that we've been working on for almost 4 years now, and it's a game that, once we launch it next year, will be the start of maybe a 10-year journey for us. Okay, let's say maybe at least. They covered their
asses with maybe at least. And they're not going to put up a fucking leaked, as I quote near, leaked image of our 10-year plan.
They should.
Yeah. Unless they make it just complete joke though, and like put out halfway through, they're just like world domination, and just like random goals.
World domination, kill all gingers, Anthem 2.
Steal everyone's last sock.
Cyberpunk future.
Yeah.
That's probably what's gonna happen.
But yeah, no, I think that this is something I don't know. There's something about like the 10-year plan for a game because you never know where the market goes and what the interest is, especially for something that's not released. Like Destiny made that mistake of
That's
this
the thing, like when,
giant thing that was going to be huge and epic and constantly sprawling, and then
like when Blizzard released WoW, did they have a 10-year plan?
no,
Or at least they might have, but they didn't say it. You know,
Well, I doubt they did. I bet they made this and they were like, "Oh fuck," and then press launch, and then they were just like their heads exploded. And they
they're
were
like, 5 years probably max.
Yeah.
You know, and they're still playing it to this day. But
And even then, Blizzard does make constant updates from some of the directors who go like, "Well, we don't know if we're actually going to make another DLC. We don't know if we're going to continue the thing. Like, we'll see what happens with this one, right?" And then there goes a huge explosion, and they continue.
Yeah.
They always talk like that. They're like, "Well, we'll see what happens," right? Because Blizzard's a little bit smarter. But this is going to be the success. This is going to wipe out WoW. We're making the WoW killer. Like that never happened from everyone who ever claimed they were making the next WoW killer.
Yep.
And
that was a big thing in terminology for a long time. Just killer, like people would be like making a first-person shooter, be like, "This is the Halo killer." It's like it wasn't.
No,
never was.
No, never will be.
Yeah.
But that's the thing for this is it's just like making the 10-year plan. Sounds like they're going to be like, "Oh, we're the whatever killer," but I have to give these guys credit on one thing. If they were going to come out and say we're the Destiny killer, most of us would probably be like, "Yep."
Right now, based off one trailer, I believe you.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm like, right now, I think this will have a little like possible gameplay trailer.
Anthem, the Destiny killer.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to seeing more of that. I hope we see it. I hope we see more this year. We must. If they're planning on launching it next year, we're going to get one more bit of something, I think.
But that's the last interesting part about this news that I want to cling to was that he said they've already been working on it for 4 years. They really have been working on it. They worked on it more than they worked on Mass Effect Andromeda. Like, clearly it's well on its way, if not almost done, and they plan on releasing it early next year. So, yay.
Yay.
So we have to see more content. We'll probably see it at, some other conference happening soon.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing. I just don't know when.
Yeah.
Honestly, this kind of game, they might do their own event for it. Yeah,
Probably.
they might do an Anthem event.
Yeah.
It seems like, because, Destiny did their own event.
It's true.
So, fuck off. Sony Japan Studio starting up several new titles. Equal effort on new IPs and sequels.
Yay. I still haven't played I Am Setsuna, but...
That's not them.
That's not them.
So Japan Studio has helped out with stuff like Eco.
Sorry.
Okay, let me give you a small list of what they've done.
Small list.
I'm just gonna go with the big ones.
Yeah.
They did Ape Escape back in 1999. They did Ape Escape 2 in 2002.
They did Legend of Dragoon? The original one?
So some of these games I know they helped with. Like Eco, they didn't make Eco, they helped.
Yeah.
They developed with Team Eco. Yeah, it says notes right here.
See, but on the notes for Legend of Dragoon, though, it doesn't have... And that was a Square Enix game. It was a Squaresoft.
No, it wasn't. Developer, SE Japan Studio.
It was Japan
Publisher, Sony Computer Entertainment.
Oh,
not Square.
I always thought it was Square. That's funny. Cool.
Rogue Galaxy, they helped with Level 5. Shadow of the Colossus, they helped with Team Eco.
Yeah,
these guys are big helpers. I wonder if they're actually doing, like...
I
wonder what that means. I wonder if they're helping with, like, just more stuff.
Probably helping with more IPs.
Because it seems like what they do.
They don't really produce.
Well, they do. It's more few and far between, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of the stuff they do, that's weird. I knew they helped on stuff, but I always thought they had, like, a stable of their own shit.
No.
Interesting. So equal effort on new IPs and sequels. Interesting. Okay. Cool. And the last two stories just blend together. It's two developers being unimpressed with the Switch's power.
Yeah.
THQ Nordic is, quote, kind of disappointed by the Switch's power. We've been in touch with Nintendo Switch for about more than a year, so we've been looking at it, and for our current lineup, we look wherever it's possible. It's a bit sad they haven't gone with a more beefy hardware, but it is what it is, so we just have to work our way around it. And then another studio I've never heard of called Asobo Studio, making a game called A Plague Tale. The Switch isn't powerful enough to render our game. That's basically the story. So I'm just wondering, because these both came out this week, I was just wondering if it was like, again, slow news week, like, the Switch is the least powerful console on the fucking market.
I mean, it has an interesting connotation, right? Because that's the whole component is, like, every single time a new Nintendo product comes out, we all freak out, we all run out and grab it. Like, I ran out and grabbed a Wii right away because I was like, oh, playing with the waggle sticks and playing Zelda sounds cool, and all that kind of shit. And then 2 years max maybe of game releases, and then suddenly everyone's like, well, it's so far behind, we're not making anything new for it. And then like the Nintendo's like, well, we've already released every IP we own, so then you get that like 1 year of no releases.
Well, going back as far as N64, Nintendo has been like at a deficit for third-party releases. like, because the disc was so much easier to develop for than the cartridge. A lot of people just preferred developing on the PlayStation 1. So a lot of third party wouldn't go there anymore. Final Fantasy pulled out of being on Nintendo, even though they'd been on Nintendo and Super Nintendo before that. They pulled out and went to Sony. Then in the GameCube era, they had those fucking little discs and just a lot of third party. Some third party was on there. Like the GameCube got Splinter Cell and shit and whatever. I think the GameCube was like actually pretty powerful though, so it like kept in line with everyone else. So I think that was.
But it was hard to produce those little discs.
And then the Wii got the Wii got like 1 billion games because it sold so well. People just started releasing shovelware on it. They released these little mini game things and stuff. So
it was all just based on the motion software, not really based on anything else.
I wouldn't call it like a good library of games on that system. And then the Wii U was like not powerful, not very good. It has some good Nintendo games, but that was about it. Like it just didn't have a lot of third party support. And if this continues, this is the thing. The Switch seems really popular, off to a good start. And if this continues, people, we reported on a story last week about a developer complaining about the PS4 not being powerful enough already, and it's a 4-year-old thing, blah blah blah. So the Switch is still like under that. Like you can only imagine like people aren't going to be wanting to port their games that are, let's say, barely running on a PS4 as is. You know, they're not going to be wanting to downgrading it even more to just get it on a Switch.
And even developers who are making new games who want to use features and mobile features and any Nintendo feature and be part of it, they're not going to want to because it's just so much harder. When you're making a game, to constrain to yourself to a technology is extremely normal. That's why last week's complaint, I'm like, I don't care if you're on a fucking computer. You still have to make your game work for the people who have a brick of a machine. You have to go as far back and as basic as possible so it works at any low setting. So I don't care if you're on a PS4 or a computer. You have to build for all types. But in this case, right, you just have a better option. So why would I go to Nintendo?
Yeah, if they're the lowest, like you shouldn't have to develop for that lowest base.
I can build for something that even has a PS4 Pro or the Scorpio or whatever the hell it's called, the Xbox One X, and I can build for something like that where I can get like the game I want out rather than having to go through the extraordinary difficulty of building a game, because you always build your game and it's always stronger. Like every single time I've ever made a game, the first run is like, oh my god, my computer's on fire, we've got it hooked up to 6 networks, and like then suddenly like the Ubisoft servers explode down the block or something, right? Like it's always like that. So you have to size it down afterwards no matter what, but to have to take it further than that and bring it all the way down to Nintendo specs, it sounds like an awful experience.
Yeah, I just don't think a lot of people are going to be doing it. So either Nintendo's got to work out a deal with like third parties specifically to be like, hey, develop something only for the Switch, you know, like,
or create a market like an iOS market where you can make a lot of really cool small games for it.
That's not a possibility. Yeah. I can't see Nintendo doing it though.
Or maybe they're actually going to explore releasing like stuff like the Metroid game and stuff like that. Lots of little classic games coming back in old retro style.
Yeah, could be.
That would be a market they could actually sustain themselves on.
Yeah, it just makes me wonder about the future of the Switch, just in general.
Well, I mean, the Nintendo's decisions are so fucking weird. Like, 'cause they did that mini Nintendo release, right? And then they made like 100 of them, and then they sold out in like 5 minutes, and they're like, well, we're not making any more. And everyone's like, but why? And they're just like, because we don't make them anymore.
Well, their reasoning was that they didn't think that gamers would want it. They thought that this would be a thing that like someone walking in a mall would be like, oh, I remember I had a Nintendo growing up, and they'd grab it, and they'd be like, yeah, or like maybe a collector or something. But it turns out everybody wanted it. So
and it's the same thing though now with the mini Super Nintendo. They have a limited amount of them, don't they?
No, they said they've like based on the. I mean, there's still a limited amount because it's fucking Nintendo and they're idiots. Yeah. But like they said that they've like learned from the classic NES and they're like, okay, we're making this one, we're making more.
If you learn,
it's still going to be sold out day one.
Oh yeah, no, that's the thing. It's like if you've learned from your mistakes, you make more than you could ever possibly think, right? So they haven't learned from their mistakes.
Well, they made more, just still probably not enough.
No,
we're not going to be seeing those on shelves ever.
No,
that's not a thing. And that's it. That's it for the fucking news. What was your favorite news story this week, Mike? I'm just curious. What was the? I like all the Marvel talk. I enjoyed all that. That's fun.
That was good.
It's fun to postulate about things we have no connection to.
Well, we were trying to make a pitch earlier this weekend on Twitter for Marvel to hire us to make our great ideas out.
Oh yeah, go listen to last week's podcast where we pitched Marvel indie games.
Yeah,
that was a lot of fun.
That was amazing.
Really enjoyed that.
And also that was the reason why Marvel should hire us. I think I'm just going to repeat that like every podcast now. Until like some random Marvel exec listens to us and goes, "Oh yeah, these guys."
It's not even subliminal. It's just like hire us. He's like, I get the feeling these guys. Maybe they should work for us. Okay, after the break, we're going to be going over all the E3 no shows. So stay tuned.
Hell, I got all my jobs.
Welcome back to the second segment of the Pens and Pixels podcast, where we talk about the E3 no-shows. All the biggest games that just didn't appear. In some cases, we expected it.
In some cases, we have blue balls.
Yes, for sure.
Yes.
There's definitely a couple. I'm sure if you went back and listened to our E3 predictions show, we probably mentioned at least... Actually, probably all these. There's at least two looking for sure that I expected to see.
Yeah.
I definitely expected to see the Resident Evil 2 remake. Oh, no, sorry. No, it's the Sucker Punch game I definitely expected to see.
I definitely expected
And I definitely expect to see something from software.
From software.
From software.
I definitely expected actually to see Last of Us 2 footage, so...
Yeah, really crazy. So we're going to be going down just each of these games, what the last word on them was, basically. Like, what the last official word, not just, like, rumor about Final Fantasy. No, we're just going to the last official thing that happened. And
what we expect and when we expect to see more of them.
Yep.
And also what we expect from the game when it finally actually does release. If it does.
Because some of these are a little shaky and some of them aren't, so it depends. So let's kick it off. Let's kick it off, Mike.
There's a kick sound.
Final Fantasy VII Remake. Last we heard, it shifted to internal development under the Final Fantasy Mobius director.
Yeah.
So they ripped it away from the CyberConnect guys who are known for making Naruto games and stuff, and I guess they didn't like it.
Yeah. They said it was due to quality control issues, which was concerning, but also almost made sense because a lot of the news that we were hearing about Final Fantasy, you and I have made jokes about this, where I'm like, why does Cloud have a grenade? When did he ever use a grenade? And you're like, there's an item called grenade, and I'm like, did you use that item? Like, no.
I might have.
Like, maybe once to be like, what does this do? And then you're like, oh.
But yeah, it wasn't a main feature where you, like, think about Cloud fucking throwing a grenade.
Like, so, like, they pulled it away from them, and they said for quality reasons, they're bringing it back in-house.
So, and, like, last we heard, this is late May. Yeah. So it's not like it's been a long time since then. But you're right, quality concerns is very concerning, obviously, even to Square. I kind of don't think we're going to see this game for a while.
I don't know. Like, if they take what was their name, the studio?
CyberConnect?
CyberConnect did, and they're just working off of that, then maybe we would see it sooner than that. But if quality concerns mean they were looking at what was made and they're like, whoa,
the engine was fucked up or something.
Start from scratch.
Yeah, like we don't know what that means.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, right? CyberConnect probably has its own engine. Maybe it's using Unity. Maybe it's using Unreal. Maybe it's something else. Maybe they were using Square Enix's engine. We don't know, right? And if that's the case and they have to switch to a new engine, that's a new game. Yeah. This is day one start over. I mean, the mechanics and design and stuff is all in
the story or whatever pre-pro they had is still intact, but they need to start with a new engine and stuff.
So I mean, it was a little less surprising after this news came in that we didn't see anything at E3 for this. I mean, we're kind of just like, all right.
I wonder if they even maybe had a trailer, but it was representative of the old game, so they didn't want to show it.
That's why it's more concerning. I thought if we saw a trailer, they'd be like, okay, we're bringing it back for quality reasons. We're just going to give it a fix-up. Yeah. But the fact that we didn't see anything, and they've done this, and we don't know what state it was in when they took it back, or if they're just starting from scratch. Starting from scratch, we're 4 years away. Yeah. If they're just reworking what was created, even then, with all the corrections I would think they would have to make this game different and back into a proper RPG.
2 years?
2 years is a minimum.
Yeah,
it's really discouraging.
And when the thing is too, they can't afford to fuck the Final Fantasy VII remake up.
No,
they can't.
This has got more pressure on it than 13 did.
Yeah, right. 13 and 15.
Yeah, or sorry, 15. Yeah.
Versus 13, I guess.
Versus 13,
yeah. So that's it's kind of crazy. So when do you expect to see it next? Do you think we'll see it this year? I'm thinking no for now.
Oh, I don't think we'll see any more content this year. Okay, I will be highly surprised but happy if it shows up at Tokyo Game Show. Still has to happen, right?
Yeah, Tokyo Game Show still has to happen. PSX still has to happen. Those are the big ones. There's Comic-Con, which they're not going to be there.
Only Tokyo Game Show or PSX will it have a potential to show up. Will it be there? I'm going to our Jade Cocoons. It's like a 1, or sorry, it's more Jade Cocoons. So sorry, it's like 4.
Oh, it's 4. I was going to say 2.
Okay.
It's 2 for now.
But I guarantee you, just so that the hype train continues, they will produce some sort of content for us to see by next year.
Yeah, just so they're not we don't get worried about it.
Yeah, we're not having a panic attack that this is literally just going to go into obscurity.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same page as you, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, Square Enix is the master of making releases of stuff that's never happened, right? We saw Versus 13 footage, and then it was 10 years until we saw anything else about it, and then it was 3 years until we saw anything else about that, and kind of shit. It was just this long stretch.
I know, you think they would have learned from that, and
anything they do, it's always like, hey, we released this footage of this game we're making, and then all of this internal problem happens, and you don't see it forever. So that's what's really concerning, is we could easily be that we don't even see a drop of it again for like 2 years.
Yeah. Oh, fuck, that'd be crazy.
Yeah.
We would all worry.
Yeah, oh yeah.
We would all worry, yeah. I think you're right, though. I think they need to, like, keep it in the public eye. They revealed it too early for sure now that this has happened, but, like, they didn't know at the time, obviously, so maybe they didn't. But
I don't think they would start over unless it was really bad.
Yeah, unless it was totally fucked.
Really fucked.
Like, how bad could it have been?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
I mean, it could have just been that, like, certain aspects were just carved over. Like, in Square Enix world, there's that fine detail where, like, even in 15, where it wasn't as much of a world as it used to be, but there was still little hallways you could go down to, and there was no clipping, there was no issues, and there was actually just a little bit of something back there.
Well, our earlier prediction, well, not prediction, like, guess was that maybe CyberConnect wasn't handling the open world part correctly.
Yeah.
Maybe the combat system was good and everything was great, but, like, once they got into roaming and stuff, maybe it just looked like ass, or they just didn't have a good handle on it, because they'd never done that before.
Or maybe it was even just as simple that the quality of the game was not encapsulating Final Fantasy VII correctly. You know, like, they were just going, all right, this is just like Final Fantasy VII, we're hitting all the story cues, but you're not really getting Final Fantasy VII here.
I think I remember, like, the only thing that, like, when this story came out, when they said they were switching back to internal development, the thing I remembered was, like, I guess CyberConnect had cut a trailer for one of the shows, and Square Enix took it and recut it in a different way, because they were like, it doesn't reflect, like, the tone, what they were going for. So if they were not even cutting a trailer in the right tone, maybe the game, you're right, was, like, Cloud's using fucking grenades all the time. It became this, like, weird, like, I don't want to say cover-based shooter, but, like, a mechanic that's like, this isn't very, like, it's Final Fantasy, you know? So, especially not Final Fantasy VII.
It could be that, like, whatever they built with the engine, whatever they have been working on, and I mean, at the same time, I think Square Enix wouldn't let CyberConnect work on an engine that wasn't Square Enix's. Like, I think they would insist on that part. So, if they were doing it in that realm, I think the game's probably not bad. I think they needed to bring it back in and make it into an RPG from a company that doesn't know how to make one. I'm sorry, you've never made anything as epic as fucking Final Fantasy VII. Square Enix has made, like, 12 of them.
Well, they made Asura's Wrath, where a man, with a fist the size of the earth, punched a guy with his finger who was on the surface of the earth. It's pretty epic. But that game is mostly cutscenes.
Yes.
You press a button.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, so that's it for Final Fantasy VII Remake. Any last thoughts?
What do we expect to get out of the actual game once it's fully complete?
I don't even know anymore. Like, I think it's still going to be an action RPG.
Yes.
I
think that this cover-based and any stealth component is actually going to disappear entirely, which is good. Because, like, we heard about that weird component they were adding in. You know, it should be far more upfront. The only thing I'm worried about is it becoming too much of a hack and slasher compared to a really... Like, in the way that Final Fantasy 15, you did hack and slash, but it felt like an RPG, right?
Nah.
I thought it did. I still felt like, you know, like the numbers counted and the fights counted, and like I felt like I was leveling and getting new weapons and new abilities.
Sure. Yeah.
I really felt my RPG elements still in there. But I think that's going to be more of the focus now, and that's definitely what's going to come out from the next time we see it.
Do you think it's going to have like a way more 15 influence battle system, maybe?
I definitely think so. I think the whole reticle thing, where like they're like going to give you markers where things land and shit, that's going to go away.
I mean, that's just like telegraphing an attack.
Yeah, I know. I didn't see any of that in Final Fantasy 15.
Telegraphing of attacks? I mean, it's a robot telegraphing its attack. I don't think that was like...
No, like marks on the ground. Like, they're like, oh, a missile will hit here, and they make a little circle and say, like, that's where it's going to happen.
Yeah, like, that's telegraphing an attack. It's like, don't be in this area.
Yeah. But nothing...
that didn't, like, drive me crazy.
I like more natural and more organic. I don't want to have a UI suddenly appear. Like, they have a power to see a UI. But like, I think there's going to just be... it's going to feel more organic. It's going to feel much more like 15.
Yeah, I could see it. I could see it, like, getting a 15 kind of like...
Yeah, revamp.
Like a makeover a little bit, you know?
Because, like, if it incorporates those components, but, you know, as a matter of fact, it'll make a superior game than 15. If you get the RPG elements of 7, where you're, like, dealing with materia systems and leveling and everything again...
Incorporating magic, actually.
Yeah, incorporating magic.
It's not just like a... Yeah. Here's a go.
And real summons that don't just happen when you're dying and just wipe the screen clear.
Yeah, there's so much they have to tackle. Like, I don't...
No, but if they do all those things, but give me the best part of 15, which was the combat, because that was so fun, then I think you have an amazing game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I expect to see out of it now that it's gone back internally.
And yeah, I think you're probably on the right path.
Yeah.
Next up is the Resident Evil 2 remake. They announced it 2 years ago on a YouTube video, and then we heard nothing. It's the remake that all Resident Evil fans have been asking for, and just nothing. Until this year, and the only reason we heard anything about it is because the original voices of Claire Redfield and Leon Kennedy will not be returning to the Resident Evil 2 remake. And this is due to the voice actor strike thing that's still going on, the unionization, and they're trying to get more money and all that. And I guess they just came out and said, like, yeah, we're not going to be in it. Capcom's gone ahead of the game, and we're, still striking, so we can't do anything.
Yeah. But this is a remake, not a remaster. Yeah. So it's not just a redo of the game looking better kind of thing.
We don't know, that's the thing, because, like, they remade Resident Evil 1, but it was basically exactly Resident Evil 1, just looking prettier, a couple of added things.
The title of the thing says Capcom confirms new release Resident Evil 2 will be a remake, not a remaster.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect it to be a remaster.
I
just mean, we don't know what it's going to be. We don't know if it's going to be Resident Evil 2, like, we don't know if it's going to be Resident Evil 1 style remake as Resident Evil 2, like, it's going to be all the fixed camera angles and stuff, or are they going to do, it's Resident Evil 4 battle system, but you're in 2's environment, basically, Or is it going to be are they going to do first person, because Resident Evil 7's first person now and stuff, like, there's literally, like, 3 different styles of Resident Evil game now, and we don't know what they're going to do for this one. Yeah.
I doubt they'll do first person.
Yeah, I doubt it, too. Yeah. I think the smart thing would be to do the Resident Evil remake style, because that game sold over 1 million copies on its second release, like, on this generation, much like it came out on the GameCube originally, and, like, they remastered the GameCube version to come out here. That would be, I mean, also what I want, so a little selfish, but...
I think they will change out the battle system a bit and the controls. Like, I think they'll follow the format of 4 more than they would go back to 2.
They've redone the controls for the remade Resident Evil 1 game, and they work great. They are not the tank controls anymore. Yeah. You can, if you want, you can have that as an option, but, like, I don't know who plays that now.
Yeah.
They kind of, like, fixed what was wrong with those old games in the Resident Evil remaster, whatever the fuck it was, the remake of Resident Evil 1. So I feel like it's been so many years. It was 2002 when they remade that game.
Yeah.
It's 15 years later. Like, they might remake this one in a completely different way.
I think they might make this one in a completely different way. It's definitely my impression. Especially since these guys are, like, trying to push the envelope and reinvigorate the franchise, right? They're like, we're making a new Resident Evil, but it's 100% first person.
Yeah, like, that's the thing. It's really unclear. If they'd announced this, like, 3 years after the first remake, and we'd be like, oh, we know exactly what to expect.
But there's no information about the dev cycle for this one.
No, that's the thing. We know nothing. This is, like, literally the first piece of information we've had since the announcement.
Yeah.
They've just gone quiet, which does that spell trouble to you? Like, complete quiet?
I don't follow Resident Evil, the company behind it, often enough, but...
I mean, they're pretty normal company. I mean, Capcom's a pretty normal company. Like, they...
No, I know.
They,
But,
release...
like, they release normal content, and they don't do anything odd with their releases.
But this has been fucked so far, because, like, this technically has not been, like, officially announced. There wasn't, like, a trailer where they were, like, even, like, a black...
It was just a weird
thing
Facebook
where,
post, right?
Yeah, it was a Facebook post, and then a video where that guy, like, ripped his shirt off, and it said Resident Evil 2 on it, and he's like, Resident Evil 2 is being remade, and that was it.
Yeah.
That was, like, so, like, hardcore people know, but, like, there was no, like, official trailer of, like, it's coming back after 20 years. Like,
I think it's... No, you know what I think it is? I think it's just being a smart company in a conservative announcement, right? Like, here is this really backwater, let's see if the internet picks it up, advertisement. A Facebook post in the middle of nowhere kind of thing. So that if they did an official announcement, like Final Fantasy 7 Remake did, where they're like, we're at E3, Final Fantasy...
Here's a big trailer,
remake, or even our title goes across, everyone's going to be like, where is it? What's wrong with the dev cycle? And they're going to probe. And they're going to find out, and then the problems of the company comes up, and then their stock price drops, and
who knows? Yeah, there could have been like a ton of problems. We just don't know with this game yet.
So even then, like, just to avoid all that shit happening, they're just putting it out there, being like, "Don't worry, guys, it's out there and it's happening, just really quietly under the crowd," and it's all just being like. I think this game is super early. It's not coming out for a really long time. And they just put that announcement out just to give the true fans
like it's been
a bit of, like, yay.
It's been like 2 years since the announcement, and just honestly, if they hadn't said anything and this E3 came and went, I just would have been like, it's not being done anymore. No. I would have thought it was being done.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's my perspective. I mean, obviously it's going to happen. I don't think that game's not going to come. They didn't make that announcement for no reason.
No, I think if they're getting voice actors involved and stuff, and other people, non-union people are doing it, it's clearly pretty far in development for doing voice acting and stuff. So.
Yeah, I think it's in development. Like, I think they're coding away. But I think they're halfway through, which means like at least another 2 years worth of time.
I just want to see it. I want to know what they're going to do. Yeah.
I think when you're going to see it, though,
I mean,
E3 next year
me hoping TGS this year.
Oh, I don't think you're going to get...
And Capcom's a Japanese company. Like, they go to TGS.
I mean, it could happen. So I mean, like
that's me hoping.
The 3J Cocoon kind of level for me, 3 to 2, 2.5.
I give it 2.
But I mean, we definitely would see something of it finally by next year for sure.
You would think.
Yeah, you would think.
Yeah, so that's Resident Evil 2 remake. You're out there somewhere.
Oh wait, what do you expect to have as like anything new in the game?
Fuck, man, I can't even. I told you what I want is literally just what Resident Evil 1 remake is.
But take a guess for them not doing that and remaking the game and giving it a new system. What would be a cool system for Resident Evil 2 to add in? Because Resident Evil 2 was a sandbox game. You're locked in that police station, right?
Yeah.
And it was all about finding the keys and shit like that. Like, did you want some sort of new puzzle mechanic in it? Did you want to like break away from that? Again, I know you want just Resident Evil 2 again, but let's just say they're doing something new. What would be something cool and new they could do inside of that you have always kind of wished? Even just take a scene.
Maybe you get to play as Ada and see what she was seeing on that side of the story. Because you didn't get to play her in that game, you just saw her.
That's cool.
You know, maybe you could go through her path or something, and there'd be different mechanics or whatever, but like...
No, that'd be a good story. That'd be a good addition.
That's as much as I'd want that I can think of. Like, in Resident Evil Remake, they added Crimson Head zombies, so you needed to light their bodies on fire, a regular zombie, or it could turn into a Crimson Head, and it would come after you, and they're unkillable. And you were just like... Okay, I don't want to go back in the hallway because I have 3 bullets and there's a Crimson Head there, and okay. So that was a cool thing they added. Like, I don't know, maybe in Resident Evil 2 could they add like a Nemesis type creature that's like, oh yeah, by the way, it's always there. It's just always there. But I feel like that would interrupt the flow of the game because it wasn't originally designed around having a monster stalking you the whole time. There are sections where
things chase you down the hallway.
Yeah, what's his name? Burton?
I don't
I forget his name.
The scientist transforms.
Yeah, Scientist transforms, has a big eyeball on his shoulder, him, where he's stalking you and stuff, but it's not the entire game. It's not like Nemesis where you're like...
But that was what I liked about that game more so, right, was the fact that it wasn't actually there, but there were so many times I go back down the hallway where it did try and, like, reach me through the wall, and I'm like, is he there? And he's never there. And for the rest of the game, but I'm still sitting there going, I think he's there.
Yeah, like... And I don't know, like, if they... I wouldn't even be, like, super disappointed if they did the Resident Evil 4 style with it. Like, I would think that's kind of cool. It would obviously be retooled to be way more of an action game than like a survival horror or puzzle game at that point, but...
I just want a little bit more activity out of the character. That's what I would have wanted. What bothered me from back in those games, even during the time, was just that, like, you were such a static rod, and then you just picked up your gun, right? And if something came up and hit you, you just, like, stammer back a bit and then get back into your static rod pose. You know, I want more... movement and interactivity out of my character.
You just want to look like move more realistically?
Well, even the animation side would be just like a smooth little whitewash to get rid of that kind of problem, but maybe some sort of mechanic around it, whether it's a back roll or like, you know what I mean, like a dodge back roll or something like that.
They implemented all that in Resident Evil 6, actually. Yeah. You're very mobile in that game. You can dive, you can roll. It was really cool, but like...
Yeah, I don't want to be highly mobile. I don't mean like highly mobile. The game doesn't have enough room. You're in hallways most of the time.
Yeah.
Just a couple of little extra little pizzazzes just to give me some other option, because to go back to a game where you literally are just, your feet are planted on the ground and you're tank style walking around and just constantly just like a rag or a rigid doll. Just give me something a little bit more. And I mean, even in Resident Evil 4, when they first implemented just the fact that you could round something in a house and something in the head, gave me a little bit more life, that his legs could actually lift off the fucking ground, you know?
Yeah, that was cool.
Or even just being able to go jump over the side of the banister so that I wasn't stuck and I'd have to go down the stairs and come around. Like, maybe just be able to get over
I understand what you mean now, yeah, because that was kind of like a liberating feeling when you finally got to like, okay, I can just shortcut this. Like, even if it's like 4 steps, you're like, yes, I can get over this. Yeah.
In the first level of Resident Evil 4, when you're inside like the shantytown area, you can like jump off from one of the balconies down below, right? Just that alone made me feel at least that the character wasn't this thing that was literally like latched onto the ground. Your feet were glued and you're just like kind of like slicking along, you know? That I would kind of want. That's the only change.
No, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck, I've beaten Resident Evil 4 like 6 times.
Twice.
It's a great game. Okay, so next up is Sucker Punch. Mike and I would have bet our lives before E3 that we're going to see
this game.
Sucker Punch. Sucker Punch, if you don't know, was the guys who made Infamous in the last gen, and then in this gen they made Infamous second son.
Piece of shit.
That Mike hates. And it's that PS4 launched with that game. It's been a while. Sucker Punch has been working on something. And there's been rumors of a couple different things. I think actually some concept art leaked for Days Gone. And everyone thought it was Sucker Punch's game. It was like zombies on a train or some shit like that.
Yeah.
And now, so we really have no idea what's going on with them. We haven't gotten any official sources, except for the last 2 years at E3. Kind of Funny's Greg Miller talks to Shuei Yoshida, the president of PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
He's not president anymore; he's a different title. But he asked him, and in that year he said like, "Oh yes, I played Sucker Punch's game," and so it was in a playable state. Cool.
Yeah.
We're gonna see it next year. Next year came and went, didn't see it.
No.
Now this year, Greg Miller asked him again. He asked Sucker Punch, and he asked Shuei. He told him 2 years ago he'd already played their game. Shuei, while laughing, says that he's played it many, many times more since. He stops himself mid-sentence before revealing too much about it. And then this person's note says, "It sounds like the game is ready to be revealed, but they are strategically holding it for PSX." And like again, I feel like every event for the entirety of this podcast, we've been like, "Oh yeah, Sucker Punch's game will be there."
Yeah,
it has to.
Well, that's the thing for all of these for the PlayStation ones, because so far these are all PlayStation games. Yeah. PlayStation's event felt like they basically were holding in a fart, like I've said, and I think they're holding off everything for PSX, and it's true. I think all the titles that we were waiting for are at least a good 80% of them are going to.
That's been our new like prediction, right? Because their E3 was so tame compared to last year's. Yeah. We were like, okay, but Last of Us 2 was revealed at last year's PSX. We were like, okay, are they gearing up PSX to be like the event now instead of E3?
I think that because of the reaction that happened with Last of Us 2, which again, like I said before, I think is dumb because it was Last of Us 2. It was like any other time you could have released that on like fucking Christmas Day, and people would have been like, "Who's Jesus?"
Yeah, yes.
Like it doesn't matter. So I think that's what they're doing is they're trying to ramp it up to be into their own show, but also their E3 presentation did feel like holding in a fart is the best one. Where you're like in a meeting, you're like, "Oh, yeah, I got that done. I'll show it to you later."
You know that thing where you try to kind of squeeze your cheeks together a little bit more, you're itching and you're
like, is leather okay to fart onto? Will it vibrate more? Like the whole presentation felt like that. So I do feel like they held back a lot more, and everyone keeps on talking about like, oh, we didn't reveal everything at E3. That's the whole PlayStation thing for this, and that's why like the Sucker Punch prediction might make sense. However, this is the weirdest game in the way that there is nothing.
We know nothing aside from that concept that leaked, and like I said, I think it was Days Gone concept art. I'm not sure. It looked like Western, wasn't it? That was the thing.
It was a Western one. Wasn't there a thing with like 4 different versions of concept art of what it could have been? Or...
No, that was Capcom. That was a bunch of Capcom games.
Oh yeah. But still.
No, the art I'm talking about was like on like a mid-century train, and there was a bunch of like corpses in the train seats.
Right.
And then there was another picture of like a kind of a more grand scale world, and there was like wood and like
I remember.
Wooden. It was almost like Westerns. Punk? I don't know. It was weird. Yeah, it was like Western, cyber Western. I don't know. It was something like that.
Yeah, no, I remember.
Steampunk Western.
Yeah, I remember what you're talking about. But I was even then like, who knows what that is?
Yeah, is that even what they're working on, or is that just some random piece from fucking who knows where?
Yeah. So that's the weird part. Like, no one gets away in this industry anymore. Like, someone's going to end up on a train working on Tomb Raider, and someo's going to take a picture.
Yeah, like they just kept their mouths shut and have not talked about it. Like, we don't know what they're doing at all.
It's like they're holding guns to like every employee. Did you talk about it today? No. You sure? Yeah. Hook them up to the lie detector.
It feels like, what was that? We just put a chip in your neck. If you lie to us, it will explode.
Your coffee has been laced with what is that called? The truth drug there?
Truth serum?
There's a term for it. Something polyserine or something like that. We've laced the coffee with truth serum. If you lie, we know.
Okay, I told my wife. Why? She just wants to know what I'm doing. She won't tell anyone, I swear. No one important anyways. Take him out.
He's like, get the wife.
Yeah, get the wife. Yeah, like, I wonder what they're working on. Like, what could it possibly be?
That's the thing, there's no way to speculate. The only thing, though, is go over Sucker Punch's history. Like, the only thing they've really done is Infamous, right? And what else? No, they've done other stuff.
They did. I think they did, what was that fucking raccoon who's a thief?
Oh,
I think that was them.
What the fuck is that called? Sly Cooper.
Sly Cooper. I think that's them.
Can you imagine if they've been hiding a Sly Cooper game?
I would not like that at all.
No.
So Sucker Punch has done. Yeah, okay. They did Rocket Robot on Wheels on the N64. Then they did Sly Cooper 1 to 3, and they did Infamous.
Huh. Infamous really got them that like hump.
Yeah, it was honestly like Naughty Dog going from Jack and Daxter to Uncharted. You know, they went from a cartoony mascot game to
Infamous.
Yeah.
So I mean, the thing is even then, just take Sly and Infamous together. All they've ever done is action platformers.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's probably an action platformer.
Whoa.
Yeah. I mean, more than likely, it's going to be that.
Yeah.
But I can definitely say, with considering how tight-lipped they are, Infamous is not big enough of a series for them to be like this tight-lipped and come out and be Infamous 3 or 4 or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
So it's a new IP. It's an action platformer.
Is there any way that this is another Marvel game?
Why would you think that?
This is just wild speculation.
Yeah.
Is there any way this is because we know that the Avengers are being worked on, probably Guardians of the Galaxy, all this other shit. Marvel's clearly getting into games. We just read that whole thing about them going to different studios who are good at stuff. They've literally done a fucking superhero game. You know, is there any chance that they're like, and the only reason they're not showing it, and it has been so long, is because like they're like, okay, we're pimping Spider-Man right now, and when that's right about to come out, like we'll release the footage of this game, and it's like whatever the fuck they're doing, I don't know.
It's not a bad kind of guess. I mean, if you think about it, what reason would they have to be more tight-lipped about their game than anything else? Because they would be trying to generate money and interest off of the new IP. But if it's Marvel's just paying them. They're like, stay quiet. No, they throw money at them.
Sony's already working with Sony with Insomniac, and now maybe they could be working with Sucker Punch and Sony, and you know, it could. I mean, purely wild speculation.
No, but
no truth to this.
You don't even do Marvel. Like, you could even just say that there's a potential that they are working on a high-profile IP. And that's why they're not talking about it.
Yeah.
That's a good prediction. I didn't even think about that.
Could be.
Yeah. Awesome. As for when we see this, maybe PSX.
Fuck yeah! Like that's the thing.
Next year, who fucking knows?
Yeah, exactly. We've been saying it like literally every time we predict a show. We're like Sucker Punch for sure. Still hasn't happened. So I'm gonna say PSX for sure. I'm just gonna keep the train rolling.
No, but I mean, also the fact that they've been revealing it to the president of PlayStation so many times, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that it's further along in production, so it's not like it's not in a playable state, which means that it's closer to release than like several years out.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah. Okay, next up is... Sorry, just let me find it here. Yeah, okay. Next up is the rumored next Batman game. We've reported on this one a lot. There was a fucking report that was taking place on like a beach or whatever the hell that one was.
Yeah.
Clockmaster as the villain. That would probably turned out to be total bullshit.
Yeah, they were like, it's going to happen on a beach, and they're going to go have sunbathing parties in the night.
But the most prominent one was a scoop from Jason Schreier at Kotaku. He'd been talking about for a long time a Damian Wayne-led Batman game where Damian Wayne had took the mantle of Batman, and it was a new Batman Arkham game, Batman Arkham something. And he was so convinced that it was going to happen, he tweeted before the Video Game Awards last year, and he said, like, oh, get ready to see some Batman on stage. And then, after it ended, people were like, what the fuck? Like, what? And he's like, I thought for sure that was going to happen. And then just recently, as of, I think this was 3-4 weeks ago, someone tweeted him and said, any new scoop about the new Batman game from WB Games Montreal? Is the game being unveiled at E3? And he said, I wouldn't get your hopes up too much. Last I heard, it was rebooted. So...
I mean, I always thought the idea... This is WB Montreal, right? Yeah, they were there... Did they... Wait, who did...
WB Montreal did Arkham Origins.
Did Arkham Origins, so they didn't do Asylum and shit like that.
No, that's Rocksteady.
Yeah, okay, right. So, I mean, I don't think that they would be making a Damian Wayne... we've done this before. I mean, I don't think a Damian Wayne fucking led Batman game would work. Sorry.
Well, we're going by the last news. Apparently it was rebooted. So all we want to talk about now is, what we want from Batman.
Yeah, I know, and that's what I mean. I didn't think that was going to work in the first place, so, what I would have expected from this Batman would be something entirely different, a new world away from the Arkham games, etc. The weird, hard question that I've asked myself several times, though, from this is, now that I've had Arkham Asylum so many times, and I really don't care about having it again anymore, I'm done with those mechanics. And I think most people kind of feel the same way, where we're like, all right, we've done that so many times.
I could go for another Batman, personally.
Anyway, not in a crazy way. What would you do with him now? When you've actually done Batman correctly. He's fought correctly, he stealths correctly, he swings correctly, he grapples correctly, and he glided correctly.
Yep. They did a good job.
Yeah, except for the car, which sucked, and I don't care about the fucking Batmobile. Even if they did the Batmobile well, I don't care about the Batmobile.
Yeah, I really don't want that game that much.
Game about the Batplane? What do you do in the next Batman game?
Maybe you do something like just take in a totally different direction, and you do like a what was that fucking steampunky Batman? Gotham by Gaslight? Maybe you do something like that, and you're a more limited Batman. You don't have all the tech you got from all those games. Maybe you start Arkham Knight and you just had everything from the game. Although I really appreciated that, like, you didn't have to go recollect all your shit. You were just like, I have all the gadgets. This is me. I'm Batman. You were like, oh, but it was like, I also haven't played a Batman game in 2 years. I don't remember this.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Gotham by Gaslight, and it's like a fucking, like, way more, like, taken back. Like reel it back just a little bit, right? And you go a lot more simple mechanics, or not mechanics necessarily, but, like, simple tools to use, you know?
I mean, I always liked the idea we had, and it's one of the most recent podcasts, was doing like a full detective version Batman, right? Like get the detective vision going full on, more interactions, actually interacting with characters, going to balls as Bruce Wayne and like trying to find people and like doing espionage.
I almost feel like a game like that would work better as like an Until Dawn / David Cage game, like a Heavy Rain or something.
Yeah, it could.
You know?
I mean, it wouldn't be a bad place for it, but I mean, I would still want a full, proper game. Like, you know, like go full, like, fucking Splinter Cell on me and have me have to, like, sneak in shit, like, as Bruce Wayne, because, like, I can't change into my costume yet. You know, give me some really heavy-duty RPG elements, and, like, even having to, like, run the company and shit, and, like, choose resources, and, you know, then go out and, like, really, really open-world RPG the fuck out of me.
Alfred's like, you invested poorly this week, Mr. Wayne. You can't afford that tech. And you're like,
like,
fuck! I've got to go fight Bane, and I don't have this gadget. Like,
yeah. Well, that would be really cool. And Alfred would be like, Ignis, I've come up with a new recipe.
I have a new recipe, yeah. Like, great.
Yeah. Or a new weapon.
Or what about, I feel like the more obvious direction they could go in is, because in Arkham Knight, spoilers, Batman's gone, technically, right? They just do, like, Batman, Arkham, the Dark Knight, or whatever, right? And it's Dark Knight. It's like
Batman Knight Returns, Arkham Asylum.
It's like 20 years later, and he's an even more old man, and he's like, it's more of a Dark Knight thing, right? Like, they'd go that way, and it's just another Batman game, but he's old.
Yeah, I mean, it's more likely that they.
I feel like that's more likely.
Like, I don't think WB Montreal is going to reinvent the wheel in some sort of incredibly epic
No,
way.
that's the thing. Rocksteady were the innovators,
yeah,
and I hear Arkham Origins is fine, but like, yeah, I kind of think this will probably be another Batman game. It's more what you don't want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably what it's going to be.
That's what I would imagine, too, yeah.
As for when we see anything about it...
Fuck, if they just rebooted it again? Like, not for a while.
Like, I can't even give you a guess.
I'm honestly surprised, though, because the Batman Arkham games sell well, and I just think that, like, as a publisher, WB would be like, fucking get this out already. Like, it's, you know...
Yeah. I mean, I think they also understand that they have more grace time because, like, beforehand the series wasn't finished, and then now the series is finished, and now they can just be like, let's wait until we get this right before we relaunch a new series.
Yeah. Although I still think they're going to call it Arkham something, because I think that name means something to them.
Yeah, probably.
Fucking Arkham 30 years later. Arkham Next. Yeah, some shit. Some stupid shit. Alright, From Software.
Or like Arkham North America. It's just like the whole entire continent.
You the whole continent.
Like, well, we couldn't figure out how to contain them all, so we just blocked off North America. One big wall. Trump was right.
Batman can't get over the wall.
That's the whole thing. You can try to like grapple up it, and they just keep knocking him off. We're not letting you in.
I told you so. But that's not a good Trump voice.
Why am I on the outside? I'm from the U.S. Think someone in your past was possibly Mexican.
Possibly. All right, next up is From Software. Last we heard from an interview was that they have 3 internal projects. One is a reboot. Probably Armored Core. They do Armored Core, so probably that. 1 new IP. And 1...
Are they in Vancouver?
No, they're Japanese.
Japanese, okay, sorry. It's just because a company asked me about... Anyways, I can't finish, yes.
Yeah, and then the last one is an action RPG that's in the vein of Dark Souls. Actually, it seems like an action RPG with a dark fantasy setting, but approached from a different angle than Dark Souls. From a second project, it'd be a reboot, but also a new game with ideas that came from previous franchises. And the third project is something different that the company has been doing previously. He says it will get a bit weird. Yeah. And we also heard, and I don't want to put too much pressure on this at all, but like we did hear that rumor that there's an Aztec game where you could like customize your fighting thing and all that shit.
Right.
that's probably nothing, but
No.
just in case. Because they said what they're working on, and that only sounds like it would be the new thing, I guess, probably.
Yeah, I think, I don't think that we're going to be seeing any of their Dark Soul-like games right away. I think that what they're looking to do is to release something new, right? They're looking to do their next franchise, which might be like a game in the way that it's an action game or something like that, but I don't think it's going to be quite like Dark Souls. That's my prediction, and why this is also taking longer for them to release any further information about it. Is they're like, we're coming up with something very new, so let's wait until you see that. And then their other two projects, they're like Dark Souls-like games. One was a setting similar to Dark Souls, and then one is a reboot of a similar franchise. They'll come out later and be like, hey, look, it's, Bloodborne again, and it's just Bloodborne, but now you can jump or something. I don't know what you can't do.
I mean, going into E3, the number one game that we saw from the places we were looking was Bloodborne 2.
Yeah.
People wanted Bloodborne 2. Do you think this ARPG that... the fuck is going on up there? This action RPG, the dark fantasy setting, is going to be... they're just not saying it?
Similar to Dark Souls, though?
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't they say similar to Bloodborne, then, or something?
Maybe that would give it away too much? I don't know.
No.
It's an interview,
I don't know. If they were if they were planning out the idea of another,
I feel like,
Bloodborne,
to me, like, I feel
like it'd be out by now, like some information.
No, I feel the opposite of you. Like, I feel like they would get the similar thing out of the way first. They'd be like, one last hurrah, it's Darkborn, whatever, right? Like, here it is. It's the last. It's whatever. Here it is. And then from there, they're like, we wiped it clean off our plate, and then it's the reboot of a previous franchise and something new.
Basically, the thing I think about for the whole Dark Souls, similar to Dark Souls action RPG, Bloodborne 2 is I don't think they're going to do Bloodborne 2. I think they're going to do, I don't know, Hell's Scream, and it's a new game, and it's the same thing. It's like Bloodborne. It's just in the Dark Souls line, and it's like some new title, but it's the same. It's Bloodborne.
Yeah, that's kind of what. Yeah, I'm thinking too. It'll be another new name, but very similar.
Very similar. That'll totally happen. And if that's the case, you're right. Maybe they would do that first because it'd be easier.
They'd just be like, "Here's what you expect from us," and then going forward, no more of this. That kind of thing.
Yeah,
maybe that.
Like, stop asking.
And yeah, it seems like it's also like, how big is their fucking team? They're working on 3 projects right now, and they just finished Dark Souls 3 late last year.
It's not a small team. However, every studio has multiple projects running. Fuck, even our little local studio Snowed In has like 5 or 6. But the thing is some of them sit there for a long time. The fact that they even mentioned that they're working
but
on more
there's
than
ideas and there's we're working on these 3 projects.
That's where I'm like, you shouldn't say you're working on 3 projects because you're not working on 3 projects. You're working on one.
But are they? That's the thing. We don't know.
I doubt it. They're working on one, and they have good ideas.
Well, they're big enough to release Bloodborne, and then next year Dark Souls 3. That's the thing.
Yeah, they're a big studio. That's what I'm saying.
They do have enough to do that. So at least 2 of these maybe they're working on.
As for when we'll see them or what we expect from them, I mean, I think we covered what we expected in the way that I think it's going to be probably one sort of Dark Souls-like, Bloodborne-like game.
I think that one's first. I think, yeah.
And then some sort of new, completely fresh IP from them. As for when...
I think we see the Dark Souls-like one E3 next year. I don't think PSX.
I don't think PSX either, so I would go with you on E3 as well. Yeah.
I think Sony probably has enough to handle their PSX with all the games that are going to be coming out early next year.
Yeah.
And then they'll also show maybe the Sucker Punch game as the one new thing. They're like, here's the fucking...
Don't you find it so weird that we had that heavy loaded year, right? There's even videos out there, people saying this was maybe the worst gaming year ever because we've just been hammering out games one after another, right? I myself did fucking Persona 5, Mass Effect, Andromeda, Horizon Zero Dawn.
By worst year, do you mean best year?
Well, it's also the worst at the same time where you're just hey, let me enjoy the game. And you're so burnt out from gaming right now, you don't even want to pick one up.
Nope. Not even at all.
Not at all. So, it's funny that this happened. It had a huge response. Everyone bought the games, and it feels like they're doing it again. Because, October is insane.
October
this year
has 2 great games. Yeah.
3 for me.
3?
Yeah. There's another one.
I'm thinking Wolfenstein, Evil Within.
There's another one coming out. Oh, there's one coming out on Halloween. And it's not a major. It's just,
Destiny 2.
No, there's another one. Oh, anyway, doesn't matter.
Sure.
There's 3 titles I can think of at least off the top of my head, and there's a bunch of them scattered around that I also want to play.
And then Sony said everything at their E3 press conference is coming out first half of 2018.
Yeah.
So God of War, probably March.
Yeah.
Spider-Man, probably after that sometime.
BioWare's talking about early for Anthem.
Were they?
Yeah, they said they were going to do early 2018 for release.
I heard late 2018.
Yeah. It could be.
Interesting, yeah. Okay.
It could be. I mean, I don't know. It's all speculation at this point, so who the fuck knows? But, like, still, it's, like, heavy loading early on. Again. Like, they thought it worked so well this time. If that becomes the pattern where they just dump everything in the beginning of the year...
Well, again, though, I don't think...
Are you good with that?
I don't think it's, like, it's not one company doing this, right, Mike? Like, it's fucking... This year, how many of these people were the same people? Sony was Horizon Zero Dawn, Nintendo was Zelda, fucking Square was, was it Square? Or was Platinum at least, was Nier Automata.
Yeah, but
Neo was Ninja.
I agree.
Like, it's all different companies, and they wanted to get out a lot of them before the fiscal year was up in March.
No, I agree with you, and I'm totally with you. It's just a lot of the time companies sometimes, or all the time, would discuss about, like, release windows, right? Movies do it all the time, and they're like, I'm not releasing during a Disney release. And then, like, Universal's like, all right, well, we'll take this month instead because that's the time for our movie. And then, like, there's 2 different companies, and they try their best to organize not releasing over top of each other. Overlaps happen. But it feels like they've just all given up. Like, every game studio is just like, I have February. You know, we all have February.
Yeah, we'll never know. We'll never know the reason they're doing that.
Yeah.
But, like, God of War and Spider-Man would both be Sony. I would hope that they would give both of them room to breathe. You know?
Not happening.
I mean... First half of 2018 is 6 months. Like that's you know, they're not gonna release God of War in March and then right in April they're gonna be like Spider-Man. You know, I doubt it. I doubt it. Yeah,
I believe it.
Will a bunch of other good games be peppered around God of War? You bet your ass. Probably, yeah. They want to get out before the fiscal year. I think what game companies need to realize is like we'll play things anytime if we really like the thing. Obviously, I mean that's just what they don't want to bet on. They just want to bet on. November's needs to release and early in the year's needs to release. Like, because like summer right now, there's a small drought right now. If something really came out right now that I really enjoy, I would still play it even though I'm burnt out.
Yeah.
You know, like if Mass Effect came out now instead, I would be playing it now. You know, even if I was burnt out from playing Persona and Horizon still.
Yeah, I'm with you.
All right, next up, actually last, is The Last of Us 2. The last bit of news we got was they're motion capturing a pig apparently. So they brought, Neil Druckmann said, today's mocap session is off to a great start, and he snapped a picture of a pig.
Big pig.
That's not real great news. Well, I mean, it's not bad news, but it's not like, not information that we can work with.
No.
There will be a pig in Last of Us 2, people. Hot scoops.
I mean, last time, they had lots of animals and stuff, right? Like, you had to fight a deer. You had to kill a deer, hunt a deer.
Remember that fucking punch out you had to that deer?
It just gets put on boxing gloves and starts fighting you.
Yeah, maybe there's like a farm or something. Like, I don't know. I really don't think that says any information.
No.
But we don't really have any like official information. All we have is the trailer and some tidbits they've said here and there.
Yes, and our conspiracy theory that we deciphered, thinking that we know more about the game.
Yes, more than developers themselves.
Yeah, go back over some of our Last of Us 2 podcasts and listen to our ranting and ravings.
Our conspiracy theory.
Of plotting the points together to assuming that this game is further along.
Yeah, we were like basically we had yarn. We're just connecting the dots on a corkboard with different things. We're like, well, if he was working on it here, then how the fuck is he saying it's so early in development here? Like,
and this one time, this trash can was knocked over. That trash can once belonged to. Just keep going and going and going.
It was basically that.
Yeah.
I still think there's something to that, but like,
no,
he's come out and said like, our entire studio has been working on like. Fucking this new Uncharted Lost Legacy. So probably the case. I mean, he has no reason to lie about that, really.
No, I also
unless it's like a really stealth thing. He's like, Last of Us 2 is out like in November. You know.
I think it's part of it's also a misdirect though too, because he's been very public about like everyone asking him questions about Last of Us 2, and he's like, oh no, all Uncharted. Pay attention to Uncharted. Buy Uncharted, right?
That's true.
And he's like so big on trying not to suck that up, and I think the owners are probably sitting back being like, dude. They're going to pressure you for Last of Us. But you're going to take all the steam out the moment you go, and then it's just going to be everyone's
yeah, exactly. The news is all going to be about that. They probably don't want to focus on it too much before the release of Uncharted Lost Legacy.
Yeah, so...
But I think that definitely means we'll see it at PSX. We'll see a new trailer.
I mean, for God's sakes, he tweeted a picture of a fucking pig, and the internet's like, ah!
Yeah.
A pig in the game! Like, that's going to be a major mechanic if you're going to
It's true. It was a news story that people thought was worth reporting.
Ellie's new friend is a pig. Like, you know, instead of Joel, it's a pig.
The pig of us.
You just send it out and like let those what are they called, clickers, like feed on it for a bit, and then you go out and stab them in the back.
Last of pigs.
As for expectations for this game, anything new or interesting I expect to get out of The Last of Us 2, I don't think they're going to change much.
I think we'll be playing as Ellie predominantly.
Yes.
I think she'll be the main character. I think Joel will be the tag along this time.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Mechanics wise, I'm just trying to think of like, Last of Us isn't like a I don't want to say it's simple, but like
it's not a heavy mechanic.
There's few mechanics, but they're executed very well.
Yes. Stealth was executed pretty
honestly, the only thing that really bothered me about Last of Us at all was like Joel's super hearing. I understand it's a mechanic you need to like, it gets turned off in the very hardest mode of the game, but like when he like puts his ear up to the wall, you basically get like detective vision of like there are 3 enemies in that room or whatever, right?
But there's like almost no way to plot out whether like, that person was walking there. Like you need that kind of
it's such a small thing. It's just for the realism of the game, you know. That's really all it is.
Yeah.
Mechanics wise, I don't know.
I think
like I want it to be about the same emphasis on shooting because I still want it to be like relatively scarce.
Oh yeah, like scarce bullet stuff. Like I expect them to almost change literally nothing about the game and just add a couple of tidbits to help smooth out some transition. Like I loved fist fighting in that game, and like actually feeling like when you got like the amount of interactions of smashing someone's head into a table and then into a wall and stuff, like it wasn't always different, but there were a lot of differences when you did that, right? It felt like any room was interactive and I was going to get a different sequence when I did it. That I feel like might get expanded on a bit. I feel like gun and shooting wise, really not a shit ton to change with it. I mean, they're not going to be adding.
Is there any survival mechanic maybe you'd like to see? Like you know, let's say this pig is like a farm that they have at their new hideout or something, and that explains how like they eat now. They have meat. They have access to meat. Like I don't want like a farming simulator in there at all.
I don't want to have to do resource management, going back and managing my town and shit. Like maybe that is something they're going to include, which would be like, oh, gather all this shit so you can bring it back to town where you're living, right?
I can't see that. It's such a linear, like story-driven game. I can't see them going that direction.
No.
I wonder if there's anything else with like survival based that we could do that's like maybe something a little more akin to Metal Gear 3. Did you play that one in the forest and stuff? Like there was the crafting on the go and all this stuff, and maybe something like that. Like,
I think they'll play around with the crafting system for sure and add in lots of really more cool stuff that they can make, right? That'll definitely be a thing. I think that's all it's going to be. I think it's just going to be some flavor spiced on top of the current system. Some more action-oriented combat moments. You know,
like the melee combat is like there's an extra system layer on top of it, or like a little more options or something, but not like
some other like stealth stuff. Like you know, I don't even remember if you could do a drop kill and drop down on top of someone. You know,
I don't think so.
I don't think so. So like something like that. You know, some more clever stealth components of some kind. You know, anything like that maybe. Like that's about it. I don't really see them doing more because like if you take a look at the rest of the games from them, like even Uncharted mechanics were the same for like 4 games, except for maybe a grappling hook.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
It was just it was kind of just like polishing. Like every iteration, it wasn't like entirely new, but it was it got like a little better. The grappling hook in 4 was really like I think the newest thing. And the fact that they kind of did like an open world ish thing with in the African area or whatever.
Yeah.
Is it Africa? Madagascar.
Madagascar.
Like kind of open worldy there. I mean, it wasn't like GTA or anything, but there was an open space which they had not really explored before in Uncharted. Yeah. Maybe we get a little more of that. That's also.
But it was just an expansion of polish. So like in Uncharted, like originally some of the scenes where you're climbing are just like here we go up a cliff and then we go around the cliff and then we jump over that. But then in Uncharted 4, there was like this really great scene where you play as them as a kid and you're like climbing out of the building and you know like you're stealthing around this like old mansion you're trying to break into, and it was just a visual retool of the cliff climbing mechanic you've been doing for like fucking 5 games, but it made it fresher for me, right? Running along those rooftops to get out of the orphanage and shit was really fun.
Yeah.
Like that's going to be the polish. It's going to be little.
I think
scenes,
you're right.
Like,
I don't think there's going to be like like a farming simulator all of a sudden, or
they're
like
just going to be really clever about it. We're going to be like, I've done this before. Oh, they never did that before. That was awesome. Like that's it.
What about
release?
Sorry, I was going to do one more mechanic, but it's straight up stealing from Metro, so they probably won't do it. But I always really enjoy Metro because the world is so post-apocalyptic and shit. Bullets are currency. So, like, they, you know, and you'd have rusted bullets, which didn't do as much damage, and you generally use those for currency.
I would like that actually added into Last of Us.
Something like that.
Because remember, like, when you're walking through that, like, area in the very beginning of Last of Us, and it's like people were in the stalls and shit, and they're all like, going to go see the mobster. Like, being able to talk to the townspeople rather than just stand beside them and listen to their groping and stuff like that. Like, more interactivity with the people to create more story based on the fact that you're interacting with human beings this time instead of just you and Ellie.
Yeah.
That would be neat.
Yeah, that could be cool.
Yeah. As for release date, my prediction is we see more at PSX for sure, and we'll get a release date for 2018 December.
It's like, fuck, like, if they're as early as they're saying they are, which I don't think is true, I still think they're farther than they're saying they are. Do you think we get a gameplay trailer at PSX?
I think we get a gameplay trailer.
Yeah,
at PSX.
gameplay?
Yeah. I 100% think we're getting a gameplay trailer. At least my hopes are up for that.
Okay.
And I think we get the game either last quarter of 2018, which leads into like January, February.
That's what that was going to be mine too. Either very late 2018 or early 2019.
Yeah. Totally.
Okay. That's it. That's all the no-shows. I'm basically excited for all those games, except for... No, I'd be excited about any of those games, except possibly Batman, like you said. But I can still, still go for another Batman.
I'm not excited for Batman, and I'm not excited for From Software.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care about Dark Souls stuff.
I'm always interested to see what those guys do.
I like to see the character designs. I just want to see the fucking monsters.
Yes. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. Like, if nothing else, those games are fucking.
Just give me the concept art book, and just like someone else is playing the game, and I'll just be flipping through the book.
Yeah. Mysterious, as always.
Mysterio.
This has been the Pens and Pixels podcast. If you liked what you heard, you can follow me on Twitter at TheCalG. Mike is at Mike Kent Draws. And we have a brand new Facebook page you can follow at facebook.com/Pens and Pixels Podcast, or on our Twitter, PNP_podcast.
Yeah. So be sure to follow us along there, guys. That's going to be where we're going to be posting up all the new episodes. Also, any little fun tidbits of information that we pick up during the week that we want to announce. It's usually news that we don't cover here on the podcast, and also it's a place where you guys can interact with us. You can also drop us an email and ask us questions. We would like to do another listener mail section with you, so you can email us at meetpensandpixels@gmail.com. It's and but it's all in the show notes below, so check it there. You can be sure to give us a like, a share, and a subscribe. We're across on Spotify, on iTunes for a rating.
We're not on Spotify.
Or Spotify. What the fuck am I saying? Spotify.
SoundCloud.
And give us a rating on SoundCloud, or a like on SoundCloud. Give us a rating on iTunes. Give us a like and a follow on everything else. It helps us out a ton. Drop us comments, all that fun stuff.
And if you want to ask us any questions for a listener mail segment, our email address is meetpensandpixels@gmail.com. And be on the lookout this week for a brand new video on our YouTube.
We're going to be continuing up that series. We've already released one video on YouTube, so be sure to check us out there and give us a subscribe. We've done one on our favorite indie games.
Top 6
favorite indie games.
Yeah, something like that.
We know our content. And look forward to the new one coming up.
It's about unused concepts in a certain game we like.
And Cal drew pictures that you really want to look at.
Yeah, you'll want to see these.
You'll want to see these.
You'll want to see these. So long and good fucking, everybody.
Good fucking.
That's all I got. It's Friday. Late.